Well, it was time to leave rainy Paris after spending a few days there touring design schools for our daughter. Look at the Arc de Triomphe. I mean, how beautiful is that? It's a sight that never gets old, no matter how many times I'm in the city. But not to worry, I'll be back in Paris in a week or so with my sister and my nephew who are coming to visit, and we will do some touristy sites then. But for now, it was off to Milan. This is one of the things that I love about traveling in Europe. Within an hour and a half, you can be in a totally different country. And we almost didn't make our flight. We were on standby. And here's a tip for you. You know when the airlines sometimes email you a confirmation and they say it's time to check in? Always do that, because if you don't do that, which is what we didn't do, then when you get to the airport, they think you haven't confirmed your flight, and then we've got put on standby. This was with Air France. So I don't know if that's standard with all airlines, but of course my husband and my eldest daughter, they checked in via email and they had no problem. Luckily, we got on the flight. We arrived in Milan about 3 o'clock, which would give us some time to explore the city before we headed off to dinner. I wanted to also be in the city center because there's so much going on, and I really wanted the girls to understand what the city was like, especially for my daughter who was looking at colleges here. I wanted her to have the full experience. And as we drove through the city, we saw the most incredible view of the Duomo, or the Cathedral of Milan. I definitely wanted to make sure we were able to visit that while we were here. So I booked a hotel just a few steps away from it, knowing that that would assure that we would have time to visit. I booked a hotel called the Mutil Boutique Hotel, and it was absolutely perfect for what we needed. In Paris, we stayed at an Airbnb, which was located behind these closed doors in a beautiful courtyard. The actual Airbnb, though, was very tiny. And so I think when you're traveling for a long amount of time, it's good to mix up Airbnbs and hotels. So after the tiny little Airbnb that we were in Paris for 4 days, where we had one bedroom and a pull-out sofa with all of our luggage and all four of us with one bathroom, those were some tight quarters. So for this part of the trip, we decided to splurge a little bit and get 2 rooms. And I have to say, this room is really great. This hotel is in the center of the city, and you know what? It's gonna be perfect for 3 days. Each room was really sizable, which was a nice, pleasant surprise for being in a major European city. Usually you don't have all of this room, which was good given the size of our suitcases. The beds were really comfy and cozy and had a little sitting area. There was even a desk area with a nice espresso machine, a great spot to plug in a laptop or charge your cell phone. There was also a wonderful view outside of the city, so it was great to kind of see what was going on down below. The bathroom was also really nicely appointed with everything you could possibly need. Again, a wonderful view outside to see the city below. It was really going to be perfect. We spent the afternoon exploring the city, and for dinner, our hotel suggested we book a table at a restaurant overlooking the canal. There's one canal that runs through Milan, and on the waterfront, you can find all kinds of trendy restaurants and little eateries. It's a very lively part of the city, and apparently at night, it has quite the nightlife. We had a wonderful appetizer. It was this fried chip that inside had a beautiful fish puree inside. For dinner, the girls had these amazing stuffed gnocchis with the carbonara sauce, and my husband and I, we could not resist the lobster ravioli, which was unbelievable. The presentation was so beautiful. It had about 5 raviolis in a delicious sauce, and then with like a little baby lobster, or it almost looked like a crayfish or a logostine. It was quite fantastic. And then of course, we had to try some dessert. So now we're gonna try this. I got a deconstructed cannoli. So it's the cannoli cream with the cannoli shells, and we're gonna give it a try and see if it's good. It looks amazing. How could this be bad, right? That is so delicious. It was worth every calorie.
I think that cannoli stuff is really good.
It's really good.
Or you could fill the cannoli. Reconstruct it. The cannoli reconstructed. And then the only way to work that all off was to walk home. And then we got to see the beautiful Duomo lit up. Oh, I can't wait to go inside. So we had some schools to visit in the afternoon, but that left the morning for doing a little bit of sightseeing. And I had always remembered the beautiful Galleria in Milan that has like the most incredible architecture and shops inside. It's right in the same sort of square as the Duomo. It's actually right next to it. So if you're visiting both, it's a great thing to do in one day. And it is the most incredible spot. It was built in the 1860s after the unification of Italy as a way to modernize the city. It was named after Italy's first monarch, and to this day it remains the oldest shopping center in the world. It's a 4-story double arcade, and you can go just to see the architecture because that in itself is a thing to see. But if you are so inclined and have the budget, it has the most incredible collection of designer shops you will probably see in the city. Everybody is there, from Gucci to Prada to Dior, and it's just a marvelous place to take in. We spotted a lovely hotel, and we thought this would be a great place just to watch the world go by. We ordered some coffees, and with the coffee came this delicious little cookie box that was presented to us. So we sat there nibbling on cookies and sipping coffee. Here's my husband doing his best George Clooney impersonation for an espresso. Then we spotted this incredible display of gelato, but apparently this isn't the authentic kind when it's piled up like this. The real kind is in the canisters, so I'm told, so we were gonna wait. We left the Galleria and then just spent the rest of the day walking around the city, discovering all the little neighborhoods. I think it's really the best way to see a city, and my husband has really convinced me to this fact. He is a city walker. He spent most of his life in Paris, and whenever we get to that city, everybody has to wear good shoes because he will spend all the days walking around the city, showing my daughters all of the different places he used to live, used to work, and so on. If in fact you want to see all of my tips for how to experience Paris on foot, you can check out my short that I just posted. Okay, we are headed to dinner to a local trattoria recommended by our hotel. This is it. We will see if it's good. Pizza, pasta, something casual, because we have been walking all day. Thanks to this one. He loves a good walk. Oh my. Girls and I were so relieved to be able to jump in a cab. Our feet were killing us. And it was another really great way to see the city, just in the comfort of a taxi, watching the world go by. We were headed to the neighborhood of Brahe. And as soon as we rolled into this neighborhood, we could see a lot of beautiful little shops, quaint little streets, and everybody was out for dinner. There's something so charming about European restaurants that spill out into the street. I don't know why I find this so appealing, but I guess because it's so different from what we have in the States, where they would never let you do that. We ordered an incredible appetizer of thinly sliced prosciutto and creamy burrata. Now, at this point of the trip, I did not have my glasses on, so I couldn't tell that I was actually shooting all of this in slow motion. But I guess if you were going to shoot something in slow motion, let it be creamy burrata. I mean, how good does that look? And it tasted just the same. For dinner, we ordered one of their pizzas that was absolutely delicious. We also got a pasta bolognese. And then, because we were in Milan, we couldn't resist the Milanese cutlet that was on the menu. And the waiter explained that a lot of times in the other parts of the world, you'll see chicken Milanese, but in fact, the original is made with veal, with the bone in. So my husband and I got that. And for dessert, we couldn't resist the panna cotta. It's one of my favorite desserts, and I had to have it because I'm always curious about the texture here in Italy. It's always so much better than what we get in the States. I'm hoping they're going to teach us how to make that at the cooking school. Well, that was totally delicious. But now my husband is right. We need to walk home because there is no way that we can just flop into bed after eating all that. We have to go work it off. Buonanotte. Now, with all of the college tours complete, it was time to visit the Duomo. Now, one of the things I've learned about touring cathedrals in Italy is that you have to be dressed for it. Because when you get up to the church, you'll see a panel that will have all of the different restrictions. Basically, for ladies, it's no bare shoulders, no bare knees. For men, the shorts can't be too short. In fact, my husband's shorts were a little short, said the ticket lady. But since we had already waited in line so long, we decided to take our chances with the fashion police, and they are monitoring. But not to worry, he got in. But a few ladies ahead of us didn't make the cut, and they were given paper ponchos. The cathedral is absolutely stunning. I mean, it really is an architectural feat to behold. Anytime I'm in a cathedral, I always ask permission if it's okay to take a photo or a video. And most often, especially in a place like this, they allow you to do it. You just can't use a flash. Being in a cathedral always reminds me of St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York. My father would take my sister and I for our birthdays into the city, and we would always make a stop at St. Patrick's to light a candle for our grandparents or any other relatives who had passed on. So my daughter and I really wanted to take the time to light a candle for my brother, who many of you may know passed away last March, and it was a real shock to all of us. He was 48 years old and died suddenly of a heart attack. We're a very close-knit family, so this was a real tragedy for all of us, but being in this cathedral somehow gave me great peace and comfort thinking about him. Given our Italian heritage, we always wanted to travel to Italy together. We never got to do that, but I definitely feel him when I'm here every time I see one of his favorite foods, like a cannoli in a store shop window. I think it's him sending me a sign. After our visit to the Duomo, we all agreed it was time to search out the gelato. So down the street from our hotel is a culinary marvel called Peck. It's somewhere between a grocery store and a restaurant and a catering. They have basically everything you could possibly want with the most incredible selection of Italian food products, including gelato, in the silver canisters. Oh, amazing! I chose pistachio and hazelnut. Let's see. Oh, this is good. Fantastic. Look at the little specks of pistachio in the gelato. This place is amazing. It's right down from our hotel, and it's a fabulous deli restaurant thing. Definitely worth it. I'll put the link in the description. All right, you got what? Rum
raisin is not rum raisin is like woohoo.
No driving after?
Nope.
I kind of have to crack up because every time we come home from a meal, there are these two women that are sitting on our mantle in our hotel room. They kind of sum it all up. The first one reminds me of what I'm going to be thinking when I look at my credit card bill. And then the other picture reminds me of what I'm going to feel like when I jump on the scale when I get home. Oh no, Mamma Mia. Well, we enjoyed our trip to Milan very much. It was really exciting. But now, after being a few days in Paris, a few days in Milan, I think I'm ready to head to the country. So I will see you at the cooking school. Bye.